Hey everyone, and welcome to Exposed Dragged Out. I'm Joseph Shepard, and each week we dive into the lives of some of those individuals who just so happen to go home a little bit too early on a drag race franchise. Today we have the privilege of chatting with one of the OG queens from Drag Race Season 2. She actually was the first drag queen that I ever saw live in Atlanta. I believe it was Burkhart's. It is Nicole Paige Brooks. How are you doing?
Good.
You mentioned your drag mother, Miss Shauna Brooks, and in an interview that she had, she said she was asked to rate Atlanta's drag scene on a scale of 1 to 10. She said, I give it a 6. And the reason why is because nowadays they're letting anybody perform. You don't have to have costumes. You don't have to basically put anything on. They'll let anybody go on stage. How do you feel about the Atlanta drag scene?
I mean, birds of a feather. I agree with her, and it's a pay scale thing, and I get that. But the thing is, I was working at a bar here before COVID for $75 a week for like 7 years, every single day. I had a show here that I worked with Shauna, but it wasn't about the money. It was the only booking that I had with Shauna. And I also make a joke that they can't afford. They're like, why doesn't House of Brooks do a show together? I was like, because no bar in the city has the budget for that. You know what I mean? So also, but at the same time, after COVID, now renegotiating things as I go in, my negotiation is, I'll start at this price, but in 6 months, we're talking about this again. You know what I mean? I want my 90-day review like every other fucking job on the planet. So, and then you have girls that will come and volunteer and work for free. And they've bought all this drag off the internet. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, and I call them bathroom queens or online queens. You know, everybody, all their videos are performing in the bathroom. You know, like Aiden. Yeah. Aiden Zane. You know, Aiden Zane was a bathroom queen. I think that, never mind, don't get me started on this bathroom. Put that back. Okay. Anyway, there's a list of or Instagram filter queens that show up, and you're like, this ain't the girl that we booked. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, I agree. I don't have so much of an issue with like bearded queens, and I mean, I don't. If you're being a female impersonator, I feel like you should have breasts or some titties of some sort. So I'm not into fully glammed out drag and no titties. I don't understand it. You're tucking your dick, but you won't wear titties. I don't get the math. But you know, but they do. I don't think they necessarily let anybody on stage, but they'll let anybody that will work for a certain amount on stage. And you know, and me and the House of Brooks here in Atlanta, we're at a certain level where we're not doing that. You know what I'm saying? And then the bar that I worked for pre-COVID never reached out to me during COVID. You know, never. And this is a bar that canceled us during Pride. They were like, we're just going to be too busy to have shows. But we're like, people are coming in from out of town to see us perform at our home bar, and you're canceling the show. And they're like, oh, well, you can do a pop-up number, you know, at midnight. And just, I'm like, no. You know, it was just constant. And then in retrospect, if it weren't for Shauna being there, it's not something I would have ever dealt with, you know. Mm-hmm. And I think that's what she's talking about. It's like, there's so many volunteers in Atlanta that have already spent so much money on their drag, and they send you a picture, and they're like, can I come do the show, la, 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 la. Mm-hmm. And I'll work for $10. Yeah, next thing you know, you don't have the House of Brooks no more. You've got 13 beginner queens that don't know how to put their own fucking panties on straight. And I think that's what she's talking about. And that the joke is, you know, you can't afford all of us, but if you could, you'd have a sickening show. Yeah. But you're not even, and we also, these bars want to act like we're not bringing in money, but that's flat out a lie. Every single bar, opening or on their way to close, has tried to do a show to Captain Save-A-Ho. You know what I mean? But then as soon as, you know, something like COVID, you know, and my mama worked for this bar a long time. You know what I mean? And they asked her if she wanted to come and hand out shots. You know what I mean?
Hand out shots?
Okay, so why? So they can be asking her when the show is? Or if she wanted to come, like, check IDs at the door. I'm like, she's a fucking legend. Yeah. You're asking shots. And she's done so much for this fucking bar. She's had a show in that bar for probably since 1999. So we're talking about over 20 years she's worked in this bar through like 2 or 3 owners, and they like after COVID they don't even communicate with her about not bringing back her show. You know what I mean? It's just like shit like that, and it's because they realize, oh, we've got a full, and they're charging at the door now. That bar now charges people to get in, yeah.
Oh
so
my
I mean
gosh.
that's what she's saying. It's like Atlanta just doesn't appreciate when like there was Backstreet and there was a show bar, we were appreciated. You know, and now you can just watch drag on TV and nobody cares. I don't, and I consider myself a local queen. I'm a local queen as far as I'm concerned. So I just it was really a slap in the face, and I haven't spoken publicly about this at all. I definitely haven't named the bar, but any sort of research can figure it out. But it's just like it's been on my mind, and I was like, "Ooh, I want to make a post about this," you know. And I was like, "No," because I'm also not one of those who like slams the bar. But we're personally insulted, you know. After all this time working somewhere, and then you're gonna bring in, or you're not even gonna bring back a show at all. You know what I mean? Or even communicate to Shauna, who's worked at this club before you owned it. You know what I mean? Shauna has worked at this place before the owners owned it. You know, he's like the third. So that's what I think. I think that's her senses. It's like nobody's willing to spend no money to get quality drag. So yeah, you do end up with a whole beginner lineup, and some of the beginners are rah-rah. But the thing I love about Drag Race is it shows a well dynamic out show. It's got the big girl, it's got the new girl, it's got the legend, it's got the sex pot, it's got the trans, you know what I'm saying? And that's the reason I went on the show, because it gave a light to the behind the scenes of a drag room. You know what I mean? Getting ready for a show. That's not what it is now, but that's what it was when I went on the show.
Well,
now it's
speaking,
like, who can you hire to make it out?
Yeah, and speaking of you getting on the show, how did you go about getting on it? Did you have an audition process? Like, how did you reach out? Like, what was the process like to actually get you on the show?
Well, my friend Armand, I don't even know what year it was. I don't know. It was like 10, 11 years ago, so do the math. Like 2010, right? Yeah. So my friend Armand for season 1, so that was 2009, was like, RuPaul's doing a new show. I was at Joe's on Juniper, and he had an apartment right down behind Joe's on Juniper, that row of brick buildings right there. Right behind the fire station. He lived there, and he's like, come by my place after you get done eating and drinking the house down, and I've already put your bio in, because every time I've had a bio thing, he was the writer, so I'd have him write my bio for me. So anyway, he's like, I've already typed in your bio. I just need you to help me decide on pictures. And back then, you would vote. So my voting, I shot to top 5 within like a week. I was like, I'm in top 5. I felt so raw loved. I was like, so loved. And then they were like calling me for interviews. I'm like, I'm in an interview doing I think I'm getting on season 1. I don't know what the fuck I signed up for. I did it under, Cosmopolitan Blackout, so, but I was just so honored that Atlanta was pushing me, you know what I mean? So the last thing you do before actually getting accepted is the psych evaluation. So they send you to a psychiatrist. So if you ain't doing the psych eval, you're not gonna get in the show. You know what I mean? I tell all these girls, I say, just chill out. Don't buy the house down until you get the psych eval.
Yeah. Yes.
Then you're almost there. So the first season, me and Sonique, we almost crossed paths doing a psych evaluation. We were
really?
We were almost in the same, because we were talking then, but we were like talking in code because we couldn't confirm or deny. Yeah. Like, oh, I just went to see psychiatrist. She's like, oh my God, so did I. I was like, yeah, mine was on Buford Highway. She's like, mine too. And I was like, what's up? And we were literally walking out. She was like, I was walking out when you were like the next appointment. Yeah. But so I almost got on season 1, and Riley. Sorry. No. Silent. Okay. Pack leader. No. Oh, so we almost got on season 1, and then they messaged me or called me and asked me to submit for season 2. So I did, but I didn't do a big push. And then that was when you could refresh your cookies and vote. And I didn't know what that meant, but everybody was telling me whenever the voting was going on, they're like, bitch, I'm at home just refreshing my cookies. And I'm like, oh, thank you for the cookies. I don't know what the fuck they're talking about. You know what I mean? And then somebody else is telling me, and then that's the reason there's no online voting, because that's how I got to the top so fast. All my friends were just at home, just computer geniuses. I don't know nothing about computers. I barely get my TV on.
So you thought that people were eating cookies for you.
I totally did, yeah.
So you walk into the workroom. You're the first girl to walk in on season 2 of RuPaul's Drag Race. What was your feeling walking into the room?
So prior to that, we are kept in captivity for 2 days. So you get off the plane, they snatch your phone out of your hand, and they say, call whoever you need to let know that you landed and made it safely. And then they take your phone. Then they take all your luggage except for one bag. So like they come to your room, they go through all your shit. Well, no, they didn't go through your shit like that, like they do now. Now I hear they fucking wand it and everything for electronics. But they just go through your stuff, take your phone from you, and you're in a room with your thoughts and madness for 2 days. And I had never been away from my son at that point, so I had been full-time dad every day, all day, and then snatched onto a plane and put into isolation, like. So I was like having not panic attacks, but I was waking up on the hour, every hour on the hour, just thinking, oh my God, his mother's just not, because I've never left him with his mother. But, and the same for the show. And then the morning of, they're like, okay, be ready in full drag downstairs in the lobby at 7 a.m., which means you got to get up at 5, which means, and you're so wound up, you can't sleep. So you don't get to sleep till late, you know what I mean? So you're just there with TV and yeah. So anyway, you go downstairs, grab a banana, go on your way, get into the van, then they put you into a little office room and you're locked in there. I literally lay down and went back to sleep. I don't know how long. I lay down. There's a picture of me during the reunion just laid down on the floor with like a pillow behind me. I'm laid out just on the floor. Everybody's walking around me. I'm like, I'm sleeping, honey. Yeah, but I don't sleep like when they're filming, like Tyra did.
Yeah.
But I was in my room, sleep. Then they come in, they're like, okay, yeah, bring your bag. And nobody had we weren't saying taglines and shit like that. We were just walking in the room. So I was just walking in and I was like, I saw season 1 where they sprayed them bitches down, and I was like, I don't know what we're fixing to go through. So I was like, everything was glued down. I had a bra and panty, a tuck of life. I was like, no matter what they ask me to do, I'm taking this little black dress off, and I'll be in this little bra and panty, and I'll be ready to go. If they want us to dive in the water or something.
Yes!
They did dump them in the water. But yeah, my season was the wind blowing, but nothing came off of me. But, yeah, but then I walked in, and I was hit with all those cameras. Mm-hmm. And the immediate realization that everything I say, my child's going to have to deal with, who was entering kindergarten when I got back home. So I was just like, I was completely edited myself, just because of the fact the 21 and up show that I give at a bar is not the same thing that I want all my son's peers and teachers, you know what I'm saying? And also I hadn't told my brother I was on the show, and he had small children. My sister, nobody knew I was going on the show because I was like, I don't know what the fuck I'm signing up for.
Yeah.
I didn't tell anybody really. And then my brother found out by some people at his bar told him that they were going to see their girl Nicole Paige Brooks on TV, on Rupaul. And he was like, that's my brother. And the people were like, no, it's not. And he was like, so he called me with her sitting there and was like, are you on a fucking, yeah. I'm like, yeah. And he's like, tell these people I'm your brother. I'm like,
oh, that's so cool.
But I was like, so it's not the same as the every F word that I normally give in an adult sort of situation. So, and also he's 6'2" now, so I dare you to say something to him. You ain't gonna say nothing to him.
Let me ask you about that. Do you think that you holding back and you being reserved led you to being out second?
I think so, yeah. Yeah, because I wasn't making good television. They tried so hard to upset me, and they weren't upsetting me. You know what I mean? Like, they hid Shauna's picture from me. They had Kylie.
Did you ever find that picture?
No, no, I believe the producers took it to try to get me riled up, but I was not
Yeah.
going. I was like, I was seeing all these other girls do the most for the cameras, and I was just like, this is my reputation here, you know what I mean? And I'm a Southern professional queen. Now, if you say something to me off key, I'm gonna hit the key next to you, bitch. You know what I'm saying? I will solve a problem real quick. You know, I have a very crazy mouth to the point where sometimes I have to take a beat like I did earlier before I just spill everything. So, and all my feelings, you know what I mean? So, yeah. So, I was taking that beat, you know, and I was taking it too much instead of saying the things I should have said. But today, I would say what I need to say, and now I know the name of the game. Also, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and you've seen it.
You know, I'm not a mean person. I'm very helpful. You know, like I made Sonique and Morgan's outfit for the first episode. You know, and Morgan fucking won. Not that they played her thing. She said she thanked me because I just brought this up to her recently. She said, I thanked you. They just didn't play it. I was like, I don't remember you thanking me. But but she said she did, so we'll go with that. It just wasn't played. But, you know, and also, you know, Sonique, I was the only one who brought a hot glue gun and glue sticks. Like, everybody else was just showed up empty-handed. I was like, I don't know. I'm going to have to make something.
Yeah.
You know, so to the point where they were giving, I was like, they brought a hot glue gun and glue sticks for everybody else, but there was a tiny one and a little thing. And I was like, I am stopping production on everybody's outfit until I get the big glue sticks that go in my glue gun that I brought. Because they kept giving them.
Yes.
I was like, we can go no further on anybody's outfit. I said, I'm not sharing another thing because you have to sign. I say it's like drag queen prison. You have to sign a sheet like you're getting commissary, girl. Like, I need glue sticks. I need duct tape. I need lashes. Yeah, bury that. Because you can't go. They can't let you out.
Yeah.
So, in prison, I say it's all you see are queens and people shuffling queens and handling queens. You know what I mean?
So the thing too about you being on season 2 is that it was at the start of what has become this crazy phenomenon. Now, one thing that I always have the girls do is that if you, since the show's called Exposed, I have you guys expose something that either happened behind the scenes that was a funny moment, a heartfelt moment. I've had people talk about fires and like things happening that they've had to like leave the studio. Was there anything that happened off camera that you wish would have been shown?
Me and Sonique, we were really like a team, and we did this thing with the umbrella where we would pop an umbrella up and talk about and be shady. Umbrella. And they didn't play any of that. I thought that was hilarious. I was like, I can't believe they didn't play any of that. Because we were like, let's talk. Underneath this umbrella. They didn't feed us well. I'm sure you know all this. But like when I got eliminated, I was like, I don't want to go through a fucking drive-through. Can we go to the hotel and sit down and be served? I wanted to be waited on. My mother's was always been a restaurant manager, a hotel manager, so I've always been able to just go in and sit down and order whatever I want. So I wanted to sit down and be waited on. You know what I mean? And Tyra, I think Morgan has told this story. Tyra apparently didn't want the bun on her thing at that dinner, and it came with a bun, and she literally like took it off, or a pickle or something like that, took it off and like put it in the server's hand. Like something really, if you can get Morgan on here, she can say it's accurate. She can say the accurate, but she talks about it all the time. My thing was, I just needed to be, you know, my Caucasian privilege got the best of me. I was like, I need to be waited on. I'm not going through another fucking drive-through. I just got eliminated. I can be served properly. You know what I mean? So, I mean, it's just terrible food. And you know, the smokers got to go and smoke all the time, but non-smokers didn't get to do anything. So I was like, I'm coming up with a fucking, I'm just gonna say I smoke and just go hang out with the smokers so you can leave this room. You know what I mean? And the smokers got let out of their hotel room. They were escorted out. You know, non-smokers were just like trapped in their room for 48 hours. The non-smokers at least were able to exit it. You know what I mean?
See, that's one thing that I always hated when I worked at Joe's on Juniper, was that they always let the smokers go out and have a 15-minute break, but I didn't get a 15-minute break.
I was like, wait a minute, you're going to go on a smoke break? I'm coming with you, girl. I'll meet you in the back, girl.
You mentioned your girl Sonique, and Sonique, I read that you guys used to be roommates. Is that true?
Call her Kylie though, yeah.
Yeah, Kylie. Yeah. So,
Kylie Sonique Love. Yeah, yeah. Before the show, because we knew each other before the show, and we were obviously see the thing about the show. Was most of those girls, you were working 5 days a week, except for Shangela. All the girls on my season were professionals. You know, like I was already following most of those queens.
mm-hmm.
You know what I mean, or had worked with them in some capacity or another. You know what I mean? So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. So we knew each other, and we had worked together, obviously, so much in Atlanta. Worked with her for the first time in Athens, and she tells a story that she heard that I was a thief, so she needed to lock her stuff up or whatever. I was like, what? I was like, what? People thought I was a thief? I was like, I am completely got money sort of girl. I would go buy whatever I want. You know what I mean? I'm not.
Yes.
Yeah. I was like, so, but I mean, she didn't have the best reputation either. But I just refused to repeat it. So, but yeah, we were. I wouldn't say we were really good friends until we moved in, and then we moved in, and it changed our dynamic. You know, of course, when you're roommates, when you become not roommates for a while, you're not the best of friends. But then, I mean, yeah, I mean, we know each other.
Mm-hmm.
We know each other. I know Kylie. I know Kylie before her name was Sonique. I know her name before Sonique. You know what I mean? I know Kylie's family. I've been to Kylie's hometown. You know what I mean? I know her. So yeah.
So seeing her in the top 4 now of All-Stars 6, and that is a girl who was on your season 2, you know her, and now you've seen somebody in an earlier season do successfully well in an All-Stars franchise. And I know you have mentioned multiple times, you know, that you would love to come back. What do you want to show the world that they didn't get to see in season 2? Because you've grown so much. Everybody like can see that. So like, what is it that you really would love to show? Because I think you would kill it.
I just think I was really edited before. I mean, I didn't know what I was signing up for. So that's the reason like the early season girls should have more of a opportunity to come back instead of you running these girls in right after they've come off of a season because they're popular. But of course they're more popular. Social media is popular now. Even the new girls have a blue check on their name, and I'm still not verified. You know what I mean? So it's just like they come in with more followers and things like that. So I think we didn't know what we were doing. You know, now I know what I'm doing. And also, you know, it has a wider range. I would just like to reintroduce myself unedited with a grown-ass child and with everybody in my family knowing, you know, what, you know, I don't really think I've changed that much. I think what I'm willing to show has changed. You know what I mean? Yeah. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I wasn't really willing to be crass and be off color and be rude and and have my child go to school starting off in elementary school with social media starting off its hate program. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I just wasn't really prepared for that. I mean, my son's not on any social media, so that's fabulous to me. And he doesn't really like me talking about him, so.
Well, I will just ask a little brief question about that. You don't have to go into too much detail about him, but I would love to know, you know, when you were on the show, I know that you probably during that time, because your son was young at that time, you didn't necessarily, like you said, want to be the unfiltered version of yourself fully on television. How did you navigate that through, you know, telling him what your career was and that you were on TV? Like, how was that process for you?
Well, he was part of the video for my audition video. I was like, tell him you want your college fund paid for, you know, and stuff like that. So it was just like, and whenever he was really, because I had him from an infant on, you know, so he saw the drag room, he saw pictures of Nicole, and I just had no shame about it. You know what I'm saying? He never saw Nicole until I'd say probably like 2 or 3 when he was, you know, speaking and, you know, and then I would be like, Daddy's getting ready for work. And I would let him see me sit down so I get ready for work. Or he would see me make a costume for Dada's work. You know, he would see hair for Dada's work. You know what I'm saying? And he would like, Dada's going to work. So it was my McDonald's uniform is the way I presented it. You know, and so I mean, he doesn't really, he's not into any of the attention at all. You know, I think if I could take anything back, it would be putting him on a public platform. You know what I mean? Because he's not into it. He doesn't like his picture taken. He doesn't like any of that shit. You know what I'm saying? And even when he was younger, we would go to the park and somebody would come up and be like, I would introduce myself and he'd be like, you're not supposed to talk to strangers. And I'm like, he's not a stranger. He's like, you just introduced yourself to him. You know, he's very coherent. And then that same person would be far away from us in the park and he would notice him taking a picture. You know what I mean? It was like, so he does not like it. But in Midtown, he says he's famous in Midtown. He's like, when I come to Midtown, I'm famous. You know, everybody knows him in Midtown. Everybody, you know, it's because we were on that block in 10th and Piedmont. We were on
Piedmont, yeah.
I lived there for 15 years. You know, somewhere in capacity. So, all those businesses, everybody knows Lucas. You know.
That's so cool. But I'm glad that you did. That's a very interesting way of how you did it. Like starting from a young age of just showing, oh, daddy's going to work. That's a very smart move.
I've always in my mind, it's like, I feel like if you put any shame on anything, then that's the tone you're setting for it. Mm-hmm. And I just didn't want there to be any sort of hiding my job from him or hiding that I was gay or hiding anything from him. Because if you're doing that, then you're putting a little tone of spin or shame on it. Like whenever I used to work in like Tunica, Mississippi, I worked at a Sheraton Casino, and they would always be like, their husband. I was like, my boyfriend. People like, they were caught off guard back then. It was just like, you're talking so free. I'm like, you're talking about your boyfriend. I don't just get to talk about my boyfriend. Like, oh, and then, I mean, there were some people like, you should talk about that in front of so-and-so. I was like, she just literally talked about her husband. I get to talk about my husband. I don't give a fuck. You know, I'm not going to be over here whispering to you about my boyfriend on the side because I'm not ashamed of that I have a boyfriend. If it bothers her, she can step away.
Yeah.
You know? So, and I just felt like that's the best way to perpetuate that to anyone is like, this is what I do for a living. I don't understand what your problem is. If you have a problem with it, then you have the problem. Yeah. Because I have no shame in what I'm doing. I'm very proud of it. I'm the best of the best. You know what I'm saying? And he knows that his father is on a different level, you know, and even before the show, I was traveling the South. You know what I'm saying? I was already making a name for myself. So
that's such a good technique. Like, I love that. I love that you did that and that you instilled that. I do want to get into what your experience was like coming out of Drag Race, because I really would love to know, like, because you were second out, but also the show at the time wasn't the phenomenon of what it is now. Did you see any success or any holdbacks or negatives from it when you first got off?
Well, I mean, there was a lot of, well, the thing that people ask, what changed the most after Drag Race? And it went from money being up to phones being up. You know what I mean? That's what changed. It's like everybody wanted a picture. Everybody wanted to document. They would hear RuPaul's Drag Race, and suddenly they all turned around. They'd never heard of me before. They didn't care who that was, but they heard that I was on that show. And I mean, I want it to be said before my name. It's my legacy. Mm-hmm. So, and it does get that kind of attention. But I came home and became a father, full time, often on the bus. You know what I mean? Picking you up, dropping you off, full time dad. So I wasn't really willing to travel, and at that time I didn't enjoy traveling because I was worried so much. You know what I mean? I didn't want to be away from home or away from mine. So I was very happy to be here. I came back to my 5 nights a week in Atlanta, and and was still turning it here for, the only reason I'm not still working in that capacity is because now I can travel and make my month in the weekends. You know what I mean? So then I became able to pick and choose. But I came home and just went back to my life. I didn't really ride the RuPaul coattails the way that a lot of queens did because it wasn't on my agenda. It wasn't what I wanted to do. You know what I mean? It wasn't. I was part of cultural, history as far as I saw. I was the first Atlanta queen. I was the number 10 person to ever walk in that room. As far as I'm concerned, I solidified my legacy in pop culture. And that was my intent. My intent was not to be famous.
Yeah.
My intent was to put myself on another level for my son to be able to go to school and say, my dad does this, but he's this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Not that being a bar queen is any, you know, I still love working in clubs, but at the same time, I wanted to be on a different level, and it put me on a different level. You know, but to be famous is not the goal. To be successful is, and I feel very successful.
Yes. I want to get into some fan questions. We have. Do you find it hard when queens make a punchline out of your name? And have you ever felt overlooked or misrepresented by the show or fellow Ru girls because of the way that people sometimes talk about you?
Oh, well, it seems like they feel very derogatory about the way people talk about me.
Yeah, they don't like it.
No, I mean, I don't know. The only thing really is like when they compare Miss What's-Her-Name's outfit to my wardrobe, but that's sickening. She's the only one in that lineup that can wear a bra and panty like me. But so I mean, I don't feel bothered by it. I'm not slighted at all. Like at DragCon, one of the things that played over and over is like Rupaul came on and said, "Nicole Paige Brooks, please go to the nearest red phone." You know what I'm saying? So I'm very honored that my name is said in any way. You know, I mean, they're not saying your name.
Yeah, exactly, and it's a legacy. Like, yeah.
No, I'm honored. I'm not slighted at all. I mean, I don't think that they've said anything off color. The hardest thing for me to play down is acrylic toenails. I mean,
that was the next question I was about to ask you. They had literally asked, "Do you still wear acrylic toenails?"
Well, no, I don't. I've never worn acrylic toenails. Raven just doesn't know what a nice pedicure looks like. You know, but you know, but you can go to my OnlyFans. I do have some foot fetish stuff on there for OnlyFans.
Oh, yes.
So if you're into these toes, I asked my OnlyFans person, who is very popular on OnlyFans, Domino Presley, what I should do, and she said you should just ride that foot fetish thing out.
Yes.
I was like, okay, so I just try on some new shoes and put it up on my OnlyFans. So you go check on me walking around in the garden. I played in a pool. Somebody's telling me I should squish food, but I'm not. I'm like, that sounds a little crazy. But yeah, no, I don't. I've never had acrylic toenails. I don't never had acrylic nails. You know, but it's just a nice pedicure, and Raven doesn't know things about that. So
yeah, and I mean, there you go. Another one we have is I've seen her do her thing a few times. She really gets into her element when she's hosting. My question is, did you always have a talent with the microphone, or was that a skill that you had to build up?
I've always had a mouth. Lily White, who just passed away recently, and here in Backstreet, she told me she watched my show on the monitor watched me perform on the monitor, and she said I have this thing where I do a little tease, look over my shoulder, and she said, you have this little thing. So she's like, keep that, never give him too much. She said, but you're also very clever. You should get a mic in your hand. She said, my monologue lasts 3 times longer than my number. And when I say hello on the mic, I say hello to everybody in the room. And she said, so you should get a mic in your hand. She said, your career will go longer, go further. And she said, so that's the reason I started emceeing, was because of that. Yeah. And yeah, so now they call me the mouth of the South, you know.
Yep.
So that's why my local fans were very disappointed in me on the show.
Let's get to I do want to ask this. I know that back 5, 6, 7 years ago that there was a run-in with the law, but I would love for you to clear up anything that you would like to clear up about that, because I do believe that everybody can have bad experiences once in a while and you grow, and I've had experiences too, but I would love to learn what you think about that time period and how you've grown as a person.
Yes, I was arrested. Me and my partner at that time, he was doing the most. And I don't like to speak on his part of anything, but my part was that I had marijuana in my pocket and an empty bag of cocaine. And I went to jail and I did my time. You know, I didn't have to do any time. I had never been in any trouble like that before. But you know, it's just you learn your lessons. You don't repeat those sorts of actions. You know, you learn from your mistakes. And one of them was I was involving myself and not blaming anybody else, but he wasn't the first person that was doing the most that I was dating. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it was just a pattern I needed to change myself, and that was the wake up call that I got from that. You know, it was just like, why are you? You know, this isn't the first time that you've been risking this sort of activity, but this is the first time you got caught, and it was the last time I would be doing something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I was like, okay, that was enough for me. You know, it's because it was really the craziness that he had on him that brought so much attention to it, I think.
Yeah.
You know? So.
Well, let me ask you, after that moment, after that happened, and you just said there, like, you were associating yourself potentially with the wrong people or like the wrong crowd. Have you now changed the way, like, dating wise, when it comes to like dating men and stuff?
Well, that person was a very devastating breakup for me, because I learned a lot of things once I had control of his phone. So I was completely worked by that. So I didn't even think about seeing anybody probably for like 2 years, two almost 3 years. I went through all my probation, all of that, single and solo, and because who wants to be involved with, you know what I'm saying? It was just like, I needed to clear that off my plate.
Yeah.
And I wasn't a very trusting person, you know what I mean, after that. So, but when I did decide to date again, I just went on Twitter and was like, I'm ready to date. I woke up one morning and was like, that's out of my system, you know what I mean? I'm no longer connected emotionally to this person, and I feel trusting of the world again, you know what I mean? I just woke up one day like that. So I was like tweeting out, and somebody said, I said, I don't want to go on Grindr and a horse, I don't want to see a bunch of dicks. And somebody tweeted OkCupid to me, and I was like, OkCupid, and then OkCupid, you know, they tagged them in it. So OkCupid was like, well, we'll put you on the A list, Nicole, if you want to go on OkCupid. And I was like, okay, I'll do that. And then I'd never been on something like that. So I put up like a boy picture with a goatee. I'd gone to my friend's wedding, and I had like 15 days off, and I grew a goatee, and this Butch's photo. So I totally catfished everybody on there. I was like, I'm an entertainer. But some people did message me like, "Are you Nicole?" And I was like, "What?" You know what I mean? That's not what I wanted. I wanted something that every relationship previous I had met in the bar or through Nicole in some capacity. They knew who I was, you know, in some way, shape, form. And I didn't want that. I didn't want anybody that was coming to me for that. So Jeremiah hit me up on OkCupid, and I was like, my mother was in the hospital with a kidney stone. So I was like, mom's in the hospital. So we missed the first date. Second date, he was like, I'm coming to the hospital to meet you. I'm like, no, we're not doing this. So we went and met, and I've been with him ever since. December 7th of 2018.
Well, congratulations. And I know that Miss Nicole Paige Brooks is going to have to go and do a show right now. So I'm going to end this interview with her with one last question. Your fans love you. You had a lot of love in the comment section. So many people are ready for you to be on AllStars, and I'm not kidding. I can send you this. There are literally so many. What is next for Nicole Paige Brooks?
Well, hopefully AllStars and a lovely crown from Rupaul, or at least $100,000.
Yes.
I would love to go on AllStars and reintroduce myself to the world, you know, because Drag Race is on a different level, and I am an OG, you know, so I feel like it's only fair that I do get another run before they give season 13 queens another chance. Exactly. So, and then, I mean, I'm here in Atlanta and very happy with my life. You know, I don't plan on leaving here. The movie and television business is here. I'm looking into writing, hopefully maybe producing something loosely based on my Backstreet days, pre Rupaul, you know, kind of like how'd you get there sort of thing, because I saw a lot of madness.
Yes, I'm sure.
Yeah. But, I mean, I'm loving life. I mean, I'm traveling. My husband likes to travel, so that's a whole other thing. I have a UK tour coming up in December.
Yes.
So look for those dates on my Instagram: Manchester, London, Bristol, somewhere else. I always forget one of them. I don't know. Yeah, so look for that on my Instagram. I'm blocked on my Facebook right now because they said I was impersonating a celebrity, trying to be myself.
You are the celebrity.
Like, I don't know what's happening there. I'm currently not on Facebook, so you're gonna have to and follow me on TikTok. I've got 3 TikToks up. I have only celebrities on my TikTok, so go see who I have on there. Yeah, I don't know.
Awesome.
The world.
The world is your oyster.
When everyone asks, and people are like, "How do you get this life?" You know, and I just said yes. Like I just said yes to almost everything that I was asked to do, even if it was like small here in Atlanta. It always has led to an amazing, So, if I can give you some advice, it's like me and my friend, we actually have a night of yes, where we're not allowed to say no. Like if somebody says, "Do you want a shot?" You're not allowed to say no. If somebody says, "Do you want to go to the bar next door?" You're not allowed to say no. Unless it endangers you. Yeah. But as a group, the group has to say yes. You know what I mean?
That sounds like so much fun.
The group is not going to say no. So it's just like sometimes you just have to go out and have a night of yes. Yes. And that's kind of like how I live my life. Is I say yes to most opportunities and most things, even if they're not of the norm or people would think they're beneath. I don't feel myself like anything is beneath me. I just don't see myself that way. Yes. So if you want me to do something, message me. It will cost you some money, but it won't be an all-star fee yet.
Well, I can't wait to come back down to Atlanta. We're going to have a yes night. Yes. I would love that. Thank you so much, Nicole Paige Brooks. Also, I think I would love to redo this again with you sometime soon to talk more about the Atlanta and more about that and the drag and you as your career. I would love that. So if you're down, let's podcast it up again. Yeah,
I'm fine with that. We can do like every 90-day check-in.
Yeah, we should do it there we go. That's good.
Months, girl.
Yes. Well, thank you guys so much for listening to this episode. Make sure you go follow Nicole Paige Brooks on all the socials. Go start tweeting out saying Nicole Paige Brooks for AllStars 7. Let's do it. Let's get her on there.
Nobody responds to me on Twitter.
Well, we're going to change that.
Nobody talks to me on Twitter. Y'all talk to me on Twitter. I want to tweet. And I do my Instagram lives, and I usually let people join. So if you ever want to join me on Instagram live, just request it, and I'll add you in there. I'm real inviting.
There you go. Thanks so much, Nicole. Until next time, I'm Joseph Shepard. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, all of the good stuff. Go follow Nicole, and have a great day.
Bye. Thank you.